Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, we're going to be comparing the all-new Tesla Model S Plaid to the all-new Lucid Air, and we're basically going to figure out which EV sedan you should go for. Before getting into the video though, as always, if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get right into the comparison. Let's start things off by going over the performance specs with the Plaid. So it has 1,020 horsepower, a 100 kilowatt hour battery pack, and it has a full electric driving range of 396 miles. Now you guys will hear the power specs on the Lucid in just a moment, but what you guys need to know here with the Plaid is it is faster 0 to 60 compared to the Lucid, despite the power specs that we will go over with the Lucid. Anyways, you guys can see here with the Model S Plaid, it has the normal Tesla Model S styling. They've made some tweaks over the years, but this essentially looks pretty much the same as what it did when it was first released back in 2011, 2012. Obviously they've changed, kind of like the whole front grille design, and they've updated the lights and everything, and they've put some updates to the interior, but the car seriously does need a full redesign. Anyways, with the Lucid, if you get the Dream Edition, you have 1,111 horsepower, and that's the Dream Edition Performance, 471 miles of range. They do have other options that have more range, but then they have less horsepower, so it's like a give and a take. Battery pack size, 118 kilowatt hours. So you do have a slightly larger battery pack with the Lucid. I saw a lot of comments stating that the Lucid is a lot more efficient compared to other EVs, and that's why it's able to get its range figures. I think it's a combination between having, again, 118 kilowatt battery pack and, also being more efficient as well. Anyways, you guys can see here at the front, storage space is great. I will show like a clip with the front on the Tesla a little bit later in the video, just because of how I've organized this particular video. But the Lucid front, just super practical and automatically opening, super easy to use. That's something that kind of frustrates me with Teslas, is not all the stuff is super intuitive and easy to use, like right off the bat. Whereas this Lucid, like literally, this was at a Mercedes dealership that I filmed it at, and they just threw me the keys, and they're a Mercedes store, so they don't necessarily know anything about the car, so I had to just wing it and figure it all out myself, and I was able to do it very, very easily. Whereas with Teslas, it's taken me a lot longer to figure out the features on it, so it's not nearly as self-explanatory with it. And also, you guys saw the lighting show, which gimmicky, but it's also pretty cool, I'd have to say that for sure. And let me know which front-end styling you like more with both of the cars. Now, with the Tesla, you guys can see here with the wheels, it's mostly closed off. That's for aerodynamic efficiency, pretty typical EV thing. And just like most EVs, it doesn't have super wide tires. Now, something that was a huge issue with the Plaid when it was initially released was the brakes weren't strong enough for the car because it's got crazy acceleration and just not enough braking power. Tesla has released a upgrade where you can get carbon ceramics, but it's like $20,000. It's crazy. So I guess that you get to choose spending $20,000 or not having enough brakes when you're trying to stop. Anyways, I do think that Tesla's done a great job with just kind of like the overall aerodynamic design of the Model S, but then also having it still look like a normal looking car. So you got like door handles that are popped in. You guys can see how like the mirrors were shaped. And overall, I think stylistically, even though it is more on the dated side of things, I think it's still a pretty good looking car on the exterior. That being said though, when you compare it to the Lucid, I don't think it really holds a candle to the Lucid from a stylistic perspective. Lucid does look pretty crazy and pretty out there, but I think they've just done a much better job with making the car just frankly look cooler. It just got a lot of cool little design touches, and still it's aerodynamically efficient, just like the Tesla. And look at that, just little things like that with the two-tone design. I think that definitely helps out. And then again, door handles inside. Notice wheel mostly closed off for aerodynamic efficiency. And I mean, even if it didn't have the closed off wheels, it would still have more range than the Tesla, I'm sure. Notice again, tires aren't super wide. It's kind of like an interesting thing. It's like if you want to get maximum grip, wider tires, but then you lose range. And it's like a catch-22 thing with EVs. And so I notice some EV owners will upgrade to wider tires. Now, popping out of the taillights, they have upgraded them over the years to make them look a little bit more modern, but still, definitely, the overall shape and everything, it especially compared to the EVs that are coming out, like you see the light design that Rivian has, that you guys will see with the Lucid as well, just kind of look a lot more modern, basically, and a lot more futuristic, whereas this, it doesn't feel like the future anymore. Anyways, you've got the whole like diffuser setup back there, which is, and the whole underbody, just like other electric cars, is completely smooth because you don't have a lot of components under there like normal internal combustion engine cars. I do think it's cool that the key's like a little Tesla Model S. I do think that's a nice little touch that they've gone for. I'm all about that. That's definitely a fun thing. But this is where I'm going to show you guys the storage space with the frunk and the trunk. Now, what you guys will probably notice here with the Model S is it's still very practical from a trunk and frunk storage perspective, but it's not as big as the Lucid with the frunk, at least. So the Lucid definitely is more practical from that perspective. So I guess if you're looking at just pure space practicality, the Lucid so far definitely is winning. Now the Tesla, it's just like a normal frunk where you have to like press it down and everything. Kind of annoying, whereas you guys saw with the Lucid, it's all automated, which, you know, someone might argue, oh, it's one more thing to break. Fair enough. But definitely a lot more user-friendly. And I feel like people buying these cars aren't really worried about long-term reliability. They're probably just going to buy the next. It's like, you know, they're like iPhone buyers, right? you just buy the new one as soon as it comes out. So you're not really too worried about reliability. But space there in the back is definitely solid with the Tesla. I will say that. And just kind of one more look here at the car. Something I also want to mention is kind of like the fit and finish on Teslas. I've noticed is they'll have like quite a few panel gaps typically, and not necessarily the best fit and finish. So Tesla still has a long way to go before they can really build a car, basically. Anyways, popping back over to the Lucid. What you guys will notice here is that cool light bar design that I was telling you in the back. Again, I can understand some people might see it as a little bit on the gimmicky side of things, but I think it's pretty cool. I think that it just, I don't know, lends to this kind of like fun little thing that happens every single time you start up the car. And again, it just makes it look so much more futuristic. Like this car seriously like looks like it is from the future, which again, I feel like that's something you want with EVs. Now, this was something that I have to mention. I tried to open it and didn't initially open. But once you do open it, it's practical. Now, the Tesla has like a hatch, so that's kind of more practical with loading, but this is practical in its own right. But they both have really solid storage space there in the rear, so I'm not going to complain either way. I feel like I would put them as pretty much equal from a trunk perspective. And again, being fully automated definitely helps with the practicality. Yeah, that looks so interesting with how it opens. That is for sure. And then going back to the Tesla, what you guys will notice here is pop-out door handle, which again is pretty common with EVs because they want to have the most aerodynamically efficient design. And so having the door handle sucked in helps out. Now, this is something that I think Tesla definitely needs to improve now that there's more competition on the market, and that is just the interior appearance and, again, fit and finish on the interior, just the overall quality of materials and everything. Like, this was great when they were the only EV on the market. But now there's other EVs, and also the fact that people typically compare Tesla to luxury cars, because there's still not enough competition out there. And so I think if Tesla really wants to get more market share, they need to obviously bring up that build quality, make sure that the cars are manufacturing actually like have decent fit and finish. But on top of that, right, material use needs to be nicer. Like they need to seriously bring things up. I think this is pretty cool. You got the screen there in the back, which you can control like the climate systems and everything. One thing to say though is Tesla being an early adopter definitely has the benefit of being an early adopter, but then also has to deal with, people basically just stealing their ideas. And you'll notice a lot of that with EVs and, including this Lucid, basically, they just kind of copy and paste, they take what works and what doesn't work, they don't put that in their car. So yeah, there's benefits and downsides being an early adopter, right? And again, I love that roof design with the Lucid Air. It feels like it's got like this retro futuristic appearance to it. And this is what I'm talking about. Like, look at the difference with this door panel. First, like the contrast of colors. And yes, you can get different colors with the Tesla Model S. But like just the material use, again, it's still very minimalist with the design, but it just looks a whole lot better. It looks more modern. It just feels like more of an experience. I guess continuing on that, they've got a bunch of cool little Easter eggs. Look at the seats. Like, the seats in the Tesla look so plain, whereas these, like, again, you got to understand both of these cars are well over six figures, right? And so you'd want a, well over six-figure interior, and the Lucid feels that way. The Tesla, it feels like a sub six-figure interior, that is for sure. And then notice here with, like, the, again, control panel. So again, they're kind of borrowing from Tesla in a sense in terms of the design, but there's a lot of cars that have screens there in the back now, so I guess that it's not necessarily Tesla they're borrowing from, it's just like the car industry in general. And then You can see like the whole center console setup. But yeah, just the look of the seats and everything. And another thing that every EV maker's borrowed from Tesla too is the full glass roof. But yeah, I think they really did a really good job with the materials. Also, space back there is huge, definitely more spacious than the Tesla for the rear passengers. Soft closing doors, which is pretty cool. But popping back here to the Tesla, so same thing here with the front door panel where, you know, again, it's decent from material standpoint. And you know, on this particular car, the fit and finish with the interior wasn't, you know, as bad as what I've seen on other Teslas. But it's just kind of boring, I guess, to look at. But I mean, I guess if you just want a plain black interior, that's completely fine. I just wish they'd, I don't know, do more with the seats just to make them pop out a little bit more. And I'm sure people will comment that, you know, this is how they're able to produce as many Teslas as they are at the rate that they're able to produce them. And again, fair enough, but Tesla's getting to the point where they're going to have to do things to be more competitive, because we're going to, you know, Tesla's whole monopoly at this point with having the only EV and then having the only charging network is slowly diminishing every single day. I do think it's pretty cool how they connect that, but again, it's not as beautiful as what you'll see on other vehicles. Now, the one thing I do love about the Plaid is it actually has a gauge cluster. A lot of, you know, other Tesla models just have everything in the infotainment system, which I think is a mistake, and I think Tesla's starting to see that now. So I'm sure that on newer, you know, once they redesign their other models, we'll start to see more gauge clusters. If they, well, we'll see when they redesign them, right? It seems like Tesla's more worried about just releasing new cars rather than redesigning what they already have, which I think is a little bit of a mistake. Turn signals on the steering wheel, which definitely takes a second to get used to, but it feels cool. I actually like that. Again, it's a weird thing, but it makes the car feel like it's more of like an occasion, basically. Now, being the Plaid, it's got like the crazy, you know, like launch sequence and everything there on the center stack. And I can just tell you, with all EVs, especially with the ones with over 1,000 horsepower, even without the launch control, they are so brutally fast. It like makes you sick. It's crazy, but you know, it's also thrilling. I think though that people are going to kind of get over it pretty soon, because they're going to get sick of feeling sick every single time they accelerate. And I think we're going to find a happy medium somewhere. I think it's going to be well under 1,000 horsepower. Maybe I'm wrong though. Maybe, you know, the cars will just keep going up and up and up in horsepower with the EVs. But I think the focus is going to end up being on range and not horsepower and acceleration for the average consumer. But I love all the different drive modes. I get like cool Tesla quirks, like the little rocket ship for the drag strip mode and everything. It's cool. And there's quite a bit of adjustability with stuff on the Tesla, including the suspension, which definitely helps out with the car. Now, I will say that it's got a pretty solid suspension system. It's a comfortable car with driving, but it lags behind like regular luxury cars. Like you drive in Model S back to back with, you know, the new Mercedes S-Class, for example, and Model S doesn't even compare. Like not even like insulation and ride quality and all that, just not even on the same planet. So again, they're doing a great job, but they definitely have their work cut out for them. And with everything being inside the screen, you guys can see you have to scroll through a ton of different menus just to get to different bits of info. But again, this isn't, I love how you can it's like order your new Tesla right here on your screen. That's it's genius. That's what that is. But it's like an EV automaker thing, and just frankly a modern automaker thing where they just are putting everything into the infotainment systems with the cars. That's pretty cool. Got the map of Mars on there. Again, Tesla things, gotta love them. But you guys can see here with the center console and storage space there, pretty solid actually. I think their design overall for this area is pretty good. And again, that fact that they don't have a bunch of buttons and everything frees up all this for storage space, which is definitely a big plus, that is for sure. And the second part of the center console, which is magnetic, definitely interesting. Takes a second to get used to, that is for sure. And you guys can see the glove box here. Now, funny enough, a lot of people told me the Lucid has a glove box and there was the button in the infotainment system. I guess I just didn't see it when I filmed the video, but like it didn't, there wasn't like, I didn't see like an obvious icon for it. I thought that was kind of interesting. So anyways, full glass roof, again, EV thing. It's cool. I like it. It definitely makes the interior feel a lot more open, especially with a black interior like what that Tesla has. Door handle was kind of again, probably user error, kind of weird to deal with on the Lucid, that's for sure. Now, something that I think is weird with the Lucid is this front door panel has like the Alcantara, whereas the back one doesn't. I thought that was kind of an interesting decision from a design perspective. It looks great, but I don't know, I think having it more uniform would make more sense. But either way, like I said, it looks great. Front seats, again, look fantastic. And again, notice that the front seats are not the same color as the back seats. Like the back seats were light brown and the front seats are dark. And so again, it's kind of weird with the lack of uniformity. So, you know, maybe people like it that way. I don't know. I'm not sold on that idea yet, but it's cool that you can do it at least. Hopefully it's not standard. Anyways, just like the Teslas, notice how you've got the little controls. And like Rivian 2, where they control multiple things there on the steering wheel, definitely just an EV car maker thing. I'm not sold on that either, frankly. I get like with minimalist, but it's also just like, I want different buttons for different controls so that I can just like shortcut to it rather than having to go through the screen and select different things. It kind of, it gets tiring. Now this system I think is pretty cool. It's similar to the system in the new Cadillac Escalade, and you basically just control different items here on the side with the touchscreen, which it feels like you're in a spaceship with like the overall like screen look and what you're doing. I just thought that it definitely kind of like set the tone with the Lucid. And you guys can see I've been on a full charge and it's like still has over 300 miles of range, which is crazy. And then notice over here with the camera system. Now Tesla's got a pretty decent camera system, but I will say that this one, I feel like it's just better. It's split between two different screens, which is definitely weird. I will say that is weird, but I think I prefer this camera system a little bit more. But yeah, having it on two different screens definitely would take a second to get used to, and I'm not sure, like, because then you'd be looking at like the screens, the two different screens, and around you while you're parking, and so it might be a little bit overwhelming. One thing that I will give Lucid credit for is their whole infotainment system UI is just amazing. It's easy to use. Everything makes sense except for the glove box, apparently, which I just did, like, again, I didn't like, I don't know, maybe I just didn't look long enough within the screen to find it, but like I didn't see an obvious like glove box button. But yeah, I mean, if you guys know where it is, let me know, because there's some people that commented on that. But anyways, with the rest of the screen, everything's, again, you got the shortcut bar there at the top. Everything's just easy to use. It makes sense. There's like just a logic to it that really works. And I'm not saying that the Tesla's is illogical. I just think that this one, even though everything's split between like 3 different screens in terms of like the little controls that you can press, it just made sense. Like I got in the car and I instantly was just like boom, 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 boom. Like I was like, oh, this makes sense. And it was like easy for me to just get used to right away. Whereas the Teslas, now that I've reviewed enough of them, I understand it, but like it definitely took me a second to get used to it. Then you'll notice here other practical stuff like, you know, cup holders. Now this doesn't, I don't think it has as much center console space as the Tesla. It's pretty close, but it's not as much. But again, I like the overall design more here with the Lucid. And again, I couldn't find that glove box button. So if you know where it is, let me know. If you found him, let them know where home is. No, I'm just kidding. I make bad jokes with these videos sometimes. You guys can see here with the pillars, notice there with the Alcantara. And then this was something else that was cool, is like you can get the screen to go away for more storage space. So I guess actually this is more practical than the Tesla, because that looks like a bigger storage space area. Well, it works as long as that screen works, right? So there's that. Again, it looks like it's cut out for a glove box, but I couldn't figure out how to open that whole system. Now this is cool. So again, glass roof like the Tesla, but I love how they've like have this split up and everything. This feels way more of like an occasion inside, especially like that colored ambient light strip and everything. Just, yeah, super, super cool. So yeah, I think they did a great job with the design overall. And let's just quickly sum things up with this video. So obviously with the Model S Plaid, you're going to have the benefit of more serviceability because there's more Tesla service centers than there is stuff for Lucid at this point, and you have Tesla's charging network. But it sounds like Tesla's going to be opening that up to other EV automakers, and so Tesla's slowly going to lose like the dominance of having like the greatest charging network, because everyone's ultimately going to have a great charging network in the near future, it sounds like. But anyways, at the time being, Tesla's charging network as well. With the Lucid, though, I like the looks of it more. On the exterior and interior, build quality was definitely nicer. Like fit and finish was fantastic with the car. And, you know, it's got more range than the Tesla. So like on paper, the Lucid is better than the Tesla in every single aspect other than 0 to 60 acceleration, which frankly, I don't care about at this point, because anything under like 3 seconds, 0 to 60 is just like crazy fast, and it's not really practical to use it. I mean, you can use it when you're entering onto the highway, but it's like, how many times are you really going to like go full throttle on the highway? It kind of gets old after a second, where you're just like, you know, you just drive, and the autopilot stuff and everything is more important at that point. But the biggest thing that Lucid has going against it is that it's not as big as Tesla at this point, you know, so it doesn't have the brand recognition that Tesla has yet. And, you know, on top of that, right, it doesn't have the infrastructure that Tesla has. So really with the Model S, in my opinion, you're getting an inferior product, but you're getting much superior infrastructure, basically. Whereas with the Lucid Air, you're getting a superior product, but then you have worse infrastructure. So it's kind of like a catch-22 type situation. Let me know which car you guys would pick.